Evening Fix It fans. So it's another wanted list video tonight, but this one is different to the others because this is high-end gear that I'm after. Because a while ago, me and my missus started a little savings account and we've been putting £5 each a week into it to get some really good fancy stuff for the channel. And bless him, James has been putting some money in there now and again as well. So we've got money sitting in a little account to buy some really good stuff for the channel. So this is like the first lot of high-end gear that I'm going to go after. Now, obviously, I'm not looking to get everything on this list at the moment. I'm just looking to buy one. And I will be looking to buy a non-working project so I can bring it back to life on the channel. Because the ones on this list today, if they are all working and all singing and dancing, I haven't got that sort of money to spend, so I am looking to get my hands on one of these off of the list that isn't working. So let's crack on. And it's only short, this list. There is only 4 receivers on it, and I did have quite a few wrote down, but I am not made of money, so I sort of looked prices up and did a bit of homework, and I was thinking in the back of my head, right, what do I really want again? And these were the 4 that stayed on my list, so it will be one of these 4 that I try and buy first. So first up is one that I would really love to get my hands on, and it is a vintage Harman Kardon. Now I'm looking at the 630, maybe the 730, and I'd love to get my hands on a 930, but I do think the 930 has gone a bit out of my price range now. So in the real world, I'll be looking at a HK 630, and I am talking the old twin power vintage Harman Kardon, because them things are absolutely fantastic. And that 630, it does still make a lot of money, but I do think if one comes up that's not working, I would be out of stretch to get my hands on one of them. Maybe, if I'm very lucky, I might get a 730. And like I said, I'd love to get a 930, but I think that's a bit out of my price range now. So this one is on the list, because although, like I said, they are a lot of money, I do think one of these Harman Kardons is still worth its money, because these things are just so good. And you get one of these on a nice big set of speakers, you would just sit back in your chair and think, oh, listen to that thing was worth every penny. So next up on the list, number 2, it's a Sansui G series. Now, I'd like to get a 3000 or a 4000. I don't really want the 2000 because I've had quite a few of them, and the 3000 and the 4000 are just much better receivers, and they don't really make that much more money than the 2000. So I think the 3 or the 4 is the better bargain. So I would like to get a 3000 or possibly a 4000, because I love this Sansui G series. Now I know a lot of people mug this G series off. They say it is cheaply made and it is no good. And I will agree with them a bit. They are cheaply made compared to them like big old early 70s ones. They are cheaply made, but you can't say one of these is no good because they sound excellent. And I had one before. I had a G401, and that sounded good. That was a lovely receiver, and that's very similar to this 3 and this 4000. But I think it's a bit rarer, that 401, so that's why I'm sort of looking for the 3000 or the 4000. Now I would love to go obviously for one of the higher numbered ones, but I think anything past the 4000 is just out of my price range. So next up on the list, number 3, and this is another fantastic vintage receiver, and it is a Yamaha CR. Now I'm looking at a 600, or I would love to get the 800. They do 1,000, which is absolutely fantastic, but I think the 1,000 is well above my price range. So really I'm looking at a CR600 or a CR 800. Now I don't really want the 620 or the 820. I've got nothing against them. It's just that first off, as a first one, I want the 00 range. Now I'm not saying the 00 range is better than the 20 range, because they are both just excellent, but for some reason I just like the 00 range. So that's what I'm going to go after, and probably go after a CR600, because the 600 still makes quite a lot of money. It is an expensive receiver. It wasn't a few years ago, these Yamahas. These are one of the ones that over the last 2 years, prices have rocketed on these. These Yamahas always was a bit on the cheap side compared to everything else, but now they have caught up. Especially that big one, the CR1000, that makes a ton of money now, when it never used to. That CR1000 was one of the biggest bargains in vintage hi-fi, but not anymore. And I would say they are a bit of an acquired taste, these Yamahas, 'cause I've had a few of them before and had friends round and they listen to it and they don't really like it. So I would say, if you're someone looking to buy like a nice receiver, if you've never heard one of these Yamahas, I think you need to listen to one before you do a load of money on one, because some people don't like the sound. I do. They've got a fantastic sound, but they sound very different to like a big Sansui or a big Pioneer, and some people just don't get it. They want that thumping big Sansui sound or that thumping big Pioneer sound, when these Yamahas don't do that. They've got a very different sound to them. They are more for the connoisseur, one of these Yamahas. So I'm looking for a 600, possibly an 800. And in my dreams, maybe 1,000, but I think not, because when I looked the other day, there was a few thousands on the computer for sale, and people was asking stupid money for them. And when I looked a few days later, they had both sold. And no, it wasn't me that bought them. They was far too much money for me. So next up, I'm going for number 4. But really, this is 4 and 5, because there is 2 here, and they are both vintage Marantz. Now, the first one is a 2225. And looking at the prices on the computer, I think this one is quite a good buy. Out of all the Marantz, this seems to be the one that doesn't make the silly money. Well, it still makes silly money, but it's not as dear as some of the others, when this one is as good as the others. It really is. It's got the looks that we all love, and it's got the sound that we all love. And I think this one's a little bit cheaper than them other ones, because I think it's one of the most common ones. You see a lot of these ones for sale, so that keeps the price down a little bit, don't it? And same with this one. Now this one is a 2226, which is very similar to the 2225. There's only a few tiny differences with them. And again, this 2226 looks like a bit of a cheaper one compared to all the others. Now, it's not cheap, one of these. You're still paying Marantz tax on it because everyone wants these receivers. And I do know the little one is cheaper than these, like the 2215, the little baby one, that is cheaper than these two. But I don't really want that one. I want one of these two. 'Cause these two are better than that little one. These two have got that Marantz power behind them, which that little one hasn't got. Lovely as that little one is, I'd prefer to get my hands on one of these two, 'cause I really rate these two. I think they are excellent Marantz receivers. So it will be one of these two I am going after. And I do think if I can find one of these two in a non-working condition, it will be within my price range to buy one. So hopefully I might be getting one of either two of these lovely old Marantz. And if I did manage to get my hands on one of these two, I would probably try and buy that little 15 next. Get the baby one, because I love that little one. It has got a fantastic sound to it. But I just prefer these slightly bigger ones. And they don't make that much more money, these two. So it will be one of these I want to try and get first. And then I might go after one of them smaller ones. So that's it, that is my list. And I did have a lot more stuff than this wrote down, but I've spent quite a few evenings going through the list, looking up prices, doing a bit of research about things, thinking, right, what do I want to buy first? And I narrowed it down to this four. And the other thing that comes into it a bit is my mum gave me some money for Christmas to buy a receiver or an amplifier for the channel, and I haven't spent it yet. So this first one I get, my mum's Christmas money will be going on it. So in a way it's a Christmas present from my mum. So I want to get something that I'm going to love and I'm going to want to keep forever. So thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and I shall see you next time.